all see my screen. So welcome to another in the Quill webinar series. We tend to do these quite regularly now, so do look out for some more that come along, and appreciate you giving up some of your lunch hour. Today we're joined with Legl, with Lauren from Legl. I'll introduce her a bit in a bit, and we're going to talk about how you could start your journey with digital online payments. So what we're going to cover today: quick introduction about Quill and Legl, who we are and what we do. Lauren's going to talk about some best digital payment practices. I'll then dive in and give you a live demo of the integration between Quill and Legl. And then Lauren will talk about how you can get on board with Legl and start to use the payment solution. Bit of housekeeping. The webinar is being recorded, I hope. Yes, recording has started. So the recording and the slide summary will be made available to everybody after the webinar. In terms of questions, there is a chat facility, so do feel free to post any questions in there as we go along. We'll try and pick them up as we go. If not, we'll sweep them all up at the end. And do feel, do put your questions in. It's really helpful. It's often helpful to see what sorts of questions other people are asking. So do make use of that facility. Okay, so quick introductions. I'm Harry McHarry. Real name is Helen McHarry, but everyone just calls me Harry. I'm Product Development Director here at Quill. So me and my team work with practices to understand the challenges that you're experiencing day in, day out. And we work towards developing solutions so that you can manage your practices efficiently. And Lauren, I'm joined by Lauren here today from Legl. So Lauren, maybe you can just give a quick introduction to who you are.
Thanks, Harry. Lovely to meet everyone. My name is Lauren. I'm the VP of the Legal Partnerships team here at Legl. We work with law firms across the UK, ranging from boutique practices to the top 200 firms. And my background is in legal tech and working with law firms in the UK. Great,
thanks, Lauren. Right, a bit about Quill. I think most of you here know Quill, maybe some of you don't, but anyway, Quill, we focus on helping you manage your practices the smart way. We are proudly independent with many years experience working with legal practices, and we pride ourselves on being a one-stop shop. So we provide both solutions and services. So we'll help you with managing your practice. So not just your practice, but your cases, your documents and your accounts. And we're proudly at the heart of about 750 law firms, but we're really focused on the practices. And what we were looking for was a partner who was focused more on the client-facing solutions, so your clients. So that's why we approached Legl. We just felt that they had really great client experiences, from making your onboarding of clients much more efficient, taking payments faster. Really great tools that leveraged all of that great digital tech that's out there. We all live and breathe by our phones now, and your clients do. So we really wanted to find somebody we could work with so that we're not just helping you, your practices, but able to help you help your clients. So maybe hand over to you now, Lauren. You can give us an overview of all of your solutions that are client facing.
Thanks, Harry. I think you just explained legal better than I could there. We're really focused on delivering best-in-class digital client experiences. So what we really specialize in is making sure that you as a law firm can give your clients a firm-branded digitized experience throughout that client lifecycle. So as Harry mentioned, during the onboarding process, but also throughout the management of that matter, including for things like payments, whether that's at the beginning of the process or later on when you're getting invoices paid. And what really underpins our solution is these really simple out-the-box insights dashboards, so that as your clients are making payments, as they're onboarding with your law firm, you can capture lots of interesting data about how long it's taking for clients to make payments, how quickly they're onboarding with your firm, and you can use that data to make better business decisions and to create a business strategy.
So maybe Lauren, you could just talk about some of the best practices that you're finding when working with the practices and payments.
Fab. I mean, the really key thing for everyone on this call, and I'm sure top of mind for everyone, is really improving the firm's cash flow position. And the quickest, easiest way to do that is to give your clients lots of quick and simple ways to pay. And so on this slide just lists some of the key practices that we see that basically decrease the amount of time that it takes for a client to pay an invoice or to put money on account. So what we do at Legl is create these firm branded payments portals, which I'll show you in a second. And what we encourage firms is to actually put that payments portal on the firm's website, so that if the client is looking to make a payment, they might go to your website to make that payment. Also, you can link directly to your website from your invoices so that your client can just click a link to go make a payment. The second suggestion on that list was actually a suggestion from one of our customers, which is now used widely across the board, is just including a link to pay in your email signature block. So when you're interacting, communicating with your clients, you're giving them a really quick and simple way to make a payment. And then finally, we enable law firms to send payment request links. And Harry's going to talk to the integration between Legl and Quill shortly, where you can really quickly and simply create payment request links for your clients. But these are essentially pre-filled checkouts. So literally all your client has to do is click using one button to make a payment if they're using a digital wallet. And it's really just about making that a completely frictionless, seamless experience for your client so that they have a great experience of working with your firm, and importantly, so that you get paid quickly.
Great, thank you. So Laura, maybe you could just talk around this example we have here from a combined client in GN Law.
Yeah, I'll talk through GN Law first, and then I'll just show you how the actual checkout process works in a second. But as you can see here, everything with Legl is branded in the firm's branding. So we will build the checkout for you. You get the checkout within 24 hours of partnering with Legl. And what's really key is that we can customize the checkout to capture all the information that you need to reconcile that payment. So we can capture things like matter reference number or client ID number or invoice number, depending on your requirements. And the objective there is to make reconciliation really quick and simple for you as a firm. And then obviously from a client experience perspective, what this is about is making it as simple as possible for the client. So they only have to enter in a couple of pieces of information and they can click to make a payment really quickly and really securely using the system. So Harry, are you able to just give me, am I able to share my screen for a second?
I will just stop sharing. There you go.
Fab. Can everyone see that?
Yeah.
Perfect. So what you can see here, I've just got a mock-up of what a checkout will look like for your firm. And so all the firm's branding will be incorporated. All the client needs to do is fill in their name, email, whatever piece of information you require from them to identify that payment and the amount that needs to be paid. And then they have the option to pay using a digital wallet. So it could be Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay, whatever device they're using, which will enable them to pay using one click, or they can manually enter in their card information. But once that payment's been confirmed, the client will automatically receive a firm branded email receipt that details exactly how that payment's going to appear on their bank statement. And again, that's all firm branded, automated to save your team time and also to give the client all the information that they need. So one thing to mention, which Harry's going to show in a second, is that with the payment request links, you'll obviously have the ability to send the client a checkout with all the information already filled in for them. So then the only step that they need to do is just click to make a payment. Thanks, Harry.
Great. Okay, so Laura, maybe you can just explain a bit about some of the statistics that you're getting from practices regarding cash flow.
Absolutely. So the key thing is that a lot of law firms really struggle with cash flow in general, and that's typically because of the amount of time that it takes for invoices to get paid on average. So with an average payment time of 60 days, it just means that, you know, there's a lot of cash that could be in the bank which is outstanding, which then requires more team time to chase, creates more admin for the firm. So the objective is to really to get clients paying their bills, paying money on account as quickly and as simply as possible. And one thing to flag is that what we see at Legal is that a huge number, more than half of clients, make payments outside of office hours. And I think that really just reflects the general trend that we've seen over the last couple of years with everyone doing things online, finding a time to do those things that's convenient for them, and that might be later on in the evening outside of normal core working hours. So just giving your clients a simple way to pay at a time of their choosing is really critical here. I'm also conscious, Harry, that there's just a question about money laundering here, and so I'll just try and address that, Gillian, as we go through. So there's obviously the key thing here is making sure that the client has the unique identifier in order to proceed to the payment step. So if you were to have, for example, the checkout on the firm's website, we conduct standard data validation against the checkout field. So if your matter reference number is, for example, character dash 5 numbers, the client needs to enter in that format in order to proceed to the payment step. But what I would say is particularly valuable here is the payment request, because that's you requesting money from the client, and basically you're filling in all the information for them, which the client can't then edit. So if you request, let's say, £500 on account from your client, they can't then accidentally send you £5,000. They can only pay the £500 that you've requested from them, and you'll see that information come into your firm in real time. And then, Alistair, to address your question, this is typically better suited for individual consumer clients who are in areas like family law, wills and probate, conveyancing, will be looking to pay quickly and easily for things on credit or debit cards or via digital wallet. The one thing that I would add, Alistair, is that for lots of SMEs, we're seeing increasing usage of credit and debit card payments. So that could be, you know, if the law firm, if the client, for example, needs quick advice on an employment law matter, they might just pay for that on a credit or debit card. So we are seeing some behavior in a B2B context as well, where having that facility to pay by credit debit card can be really helpful to the business. Sorry, on that, I'm just trying to run through all the questions, Harry, as they come in. It's really great, good. Guys. So your firm can choose the limit, so it's completely flexible, and there is quite a large amount of variation between the firms that we work with depending on the limits that they put on. So for example, a lot of the conveyancing firms that we work with will be looking to take up to £2,000 of money on account to get started. They might have a lower cap than, for example, some of the employment law firms that we work with are dealing with, you know, employment tribunal cases where costs rack up well into like nearly 6 figures, in which case they might have a much higher upper limit, but it's completely up to your firm to choose the amount that you want to cap the checkout at.
Great. Okay, so any payment, any account, any time. Lauren, do you want to talk through some of the scenarios you're seeing this used for?
Absolutely. And I think, you know, the really key thing here is that whenever this payment needs to be made across the matter life cycle, you can just make it quick and easy for your client. And you can also make it easy for yourself by directing those funds straight into the client account or straight into the office account as required. So when you're generating a payment request link for a client, you can choose to direct those funds straight into the client account or straight into the office account. So typical use cases that we see are, you know, let's say you have an initial meeting with a client in a practice area like family law, where you want the client to pay an initial fee before you sit down with them and start hearing more about their case, in which case a really quick and simple way to get that money on account is by just sending them a link to pay. Same with disbursements for areas like conveyancing, where you might have things like search fees that need to be covered. You need that money in order to start the substantive work. We also see the product be used for invoice payments, for interim payments. So if your client, for example, has agreed to pay on a certain payment schedule, you can send out payment requests in order to collect that money. And also, obviously, at the end of the matter, just the outstanding collection of the balance, you can do that as well using Legal. Sorry, Harry, I'm getting more questions, so I just want to run through these. Do you see multiple? So, John, this is a really great question around the transfers. So you'll receive a notification about the payments that are received into the firm, and you can also see all this information in real time on the dashboards. It also will automatically update in Quill as well, so you'll be able to see that information in real time. When it comes to the funds actually transferring to your law firm, you'll receive a daily transfer summary, which breaks down all the individual payments that were received, and it also provides you with the reference number. So whether it's a matter reference number, client ID number, invoice number, whatever you've requested, it will also show all of that information as well. So it basically means that instead of kind of like receiving a notification like, oh great, we've got £10,000 transferred into our bank account, it will tell you the total sum that was transferred was £10,000, and then it will tell you £2,000 came from this person with this reference number, 1,500 came from this person, etc. And you receive that every single day, so that you have a really clear picture of all the funds that are in either client account or office account or both. And then Gillian's question, we're going to cover pricing shortly, Gillian. We've got a slide on that, so we'll be able to cover that in a sec. Is there a minimum website tech platform requirement? To answer your question, Sautem, we basically will give you the firm branded checkout. You can either have that hosted by legal, so you could just have a page which is like www.lawfirmx.legal.com, in which case we host the page and you can just immediately send that link to clients so that they can make payments. We can also give you an iframe which you can just embed in your website so that your firm can have like a really slick native experience for the client on your firm's website. Both options are really simple to implement in practice, and I'm absolutely can share more information, Saltem, if you want to know more about how we can help to get it on your website. And so, Jacqueline, all of the information that's in the legal dashboard can be downloaded in a CSV format. So you can access the information. It's presented in a really nice way in the dashboard. It updates in real time, but you can absolutely download that information in a CSV as well.
Great. Okay, thanks, Lauren. And when I go to show the integration within Quill, we'll see the importance of that transfer reference number and being able to relate that back to all of the individual payments that have come in. So I am now going to attempt to share my other screen, so bear with me. And I hope that I am now sharing Quill as opposed to just sharing a huge picture of everybody else in the webinar. So the first thing to say is I'm doing this demo within our new Quill experience. It's currently in beta, and I know that there are some beta users here on this webinar. So for some of you, this will be familiar. For some of you, this will be a brand new look and feel to Quill. All the same functionality, just a new user experience, really laser focused on making it more efficient to work across your cases, no matter what you're doing. So here I am, I'm working on the purchase of a new house for Fiona Jones. And within the money area, so this is when you're working on any of the financials to do with that case. Once you're set up on legal, and we'll cover more at the end about how to go about that, you will get two new options appearing within the money area. First one, go to legal, and this is your way to get directly into your account on legal. No need to sign in. It's simply click on the button and you're straight into your account in the world of legal, with access to all of the payment requests functionality, the dashboards, the analytics. And it is from within here where Lauren was talking about being able to export everything in CSV format. So from whenever you're working in Quill, you can easily and quickly get into that legal world. You'll also have this new button here to generate that payment request. And you'll also notice that you're actually within the full financial context of the case. So if you need to look at ledgers or e-chits or anything before you make a decision about that payment request, it's all there. So let's go and create a payment request. So we're trying to make sure that we give it as much information as possible. So it will default to using the primary contact on that case. And this is really important because that primary contact will have been through your AML checks. So you can be a bit more assured that you're actually sending it to the person you need to send it to. But you can easily just change that email address or the details should you need to send it to another person. You can enter in your payment amount. It defaults to the case code. So again, there's no confusion about which case this payment's going to be in relation to. So you can easily tie it back to the case. You can put in any invoice numbers or bill numbers. So again, when it comes to reconciling, that reference number will be associated with that payment all the way through its journey through to legal and back again into your bank account, so you can easily reconcile your accounts. You can select which account to pay it into. This is a demo system. I've only got the one account, but typically you'll probably have your client and office accounts here. So you can request payments for either account depending on the scenario. And it's important to note that these are the accounts that are set up within legal. So you might want to think about when you're setting those up, giving them similar names to those that you're used to seeing within your Quill account. So you can make sure that it's very obvious to people which accounts you're wanting to set it up for. So you select your account, you can add any additional comments, and then you can create the payment request link. And here you are. This is the individualized payment request link. You can just double confirm that you have got all of the right information and then simply copy it to your clipboard. And again, you're told it's been copied. And I'm just going to click finish here to say that I've created that payment request. And you'll see here on the practice menu, you're able to go and look at all of the payment requests for that case. Obviously, it's a test account, so I've been setting a few up this morning. And if you want to email that directly to your client, you simply click on the email link, and it's probably, is that still showing my Outlook email? So you can just fill in your email. Sorry, please pay, put the link in, and there you go, send off the email. And when the client receives that email, they'll simply click on that link to get their individualized checkout. It will already be populated with the case reference number, the bill reference number that you've put on there, and the amount. So as Lauren demonstrated before, you'll simply be able to, they'll be able to either use their Apple Pay or Google Pay or enter their credit details and pay. So that's all of the payment requests for the case. Sorry, let me just also, when you're here, you've got various options as well. So later in the process, you might want to chase that client up again for payment. So you can simply just copy the request link again and use it however you want to use it. Should they actually pay in another way, maybe they send a check in or they pay over the phone, you can manually mark that as paid. You can, if you decide actually you sent that in error and you want to close that payment link so it cannot be used by the client, you can simply mark it as closed. And again, you can just go straight into legal to monitor anything you want about that payment request. The other thing to note is that you're working here within Money, so when you need to raise your e-chits to match those payment requests, you can do it directly from within here. And it's also possible to see all of your payment requests across the practice by just simply unhooking from that case. And here you can see all of the payment requests with all the different payment statuses. And maybe that's a good point, Lauren, for you to talk around those payment statuses. So let me just share my other screen.
That was like Inception, Harry, as a Teams meeting in a Teams meeting. Yeah, just to very quickly run through the payment statuses. So as soon as the payment has been made, that will show up as paid on your dashboard. So you can see that green tick that's in the middle there as ticked as paid. That means that the client has successfully made the payment. And marked paid is what Harry was just referring to. So let's say your client has paid by sending a check into the firm. You want to confirm that that client has paid, but they've made the payment outside of legal. That's a way that you can click it as marked as paid. And then as soon as the amount has actually been received into your nominated bank accounts, that will then automatically update on the dashboard to say that it's been transferred. So you'll be able to log into your dashboard, you'll be able to see exactly what's still outstanding, and that's pending at the very top. That means that the client hasn't made a payment yet. As soon as the client's made a payment, it will show up as paid, and then as soon as that money's been received into the nominated bank account, that will then update to say transferred. So at any given time, you'll just be able to log in, you'll be able to see that very, very clearly. Everything's updated automatically in real time. And as Harry's mentioned a couple of times, the really key part of this is making sure that you have all of the information to reconcile that payment. So that's really at the heart of this. Is obviously we want to give clients a really quick, simple, slick way to pay, but also making sure that you're fully supported at the law firm with all of the information about those individual payments and basically how those link to the different matters that you're working on.
Thank you, Lauren. Just to pick up on a couple of questions there. There's a question there about, is the money protected? Your bank cannot make any claims on it. Is that something you can pick up, Lauren?
I was going to ask Jacqueline if you could provide any more context to this question, but essentially what's happening is that the client makes a payment on their card, that money is then processed, and then you receive that money into your nominated bank account. So it works very much in the same way that if you were taking card payments, for example, on a physical terminal in your office, or if you were taking card payments over the phone, it's the same, except for if you do it online, it's just a lot more secure. There is a lot more security. I think what you're asking, and I may interpret this wrong, is around chargebacks. So the consumer, so the person who's paid or the corporate paying on the card could dispute with their bank that they didn't make that payment, which is almost impossible to do if they've paid online because they go through strong customer authentication during the payments process. I think I've been working with law firms for 4 years at Legal, and I've heard of only one instance across working with 200 clients of a law firm's client raising a chargeback. It's something that exists quite commonly in like the travel industry, but it's not a problem that law firms faced. So yes, Jacqueline, to answer your question, we don't receive that money. It's just being processed during that journey and is then received into your bank account. And our underlying payment processor here is Stripe, who are an FCA regulated best-in-class payments processor.
Thanks, Lauren. John, just to pick up on your question about automating the creation of the receipt e-chits. Little smiley face. Yes, that is absolutely the next logical step. We need to just think about how that would be. Would it be literally automatically behind the scenes, or do practices want a bit more control over creating that? So yes, it is the next logical step, is to look at how we can streamline some of the back-end processes that come out of these payment requests. So yeah, I've made a note of your name and we'll be back in touch once we get to that point. Jacqueline's raised another question around, have you already covered that in terms of it's not directly paid to first?
Yeah, to be super clear, the funds are not transferred to Legal. We don't hold any of your client's money. The client makes the payment, the card payment is processed, and then it's received into your nominated bank account.
Great, thank you. Okay, so Lauren, maybe you'd like to wrap up with the sort of overall benefits of this integrated legal solution.
Absolutely. So I think kind of first and foremost, the improved customer experience here is really key. It's just about making it really quick and simple for your client to make a payment. And I think if we all have a think about how our behaviors, even individually, have changed over the last couple of years, everyone expects to be able to do everything online. Being able to do things quick and simply online is just a really key way to deliver a great customer experience. And obviously the knock-on effect of giving clients that really quick and simple experience is that they make payments a lot faster. So the average client payment time with legal is about 7 hours. So if your typical invoice payment time is several weeks, and I think the average that we shared earlier was 60 days on average, and you can get that time reduced to less than 24 hours, it makes an absolutely massive impact on your cash flow. So you have more cash to deploy on sales and marketing for your firm, or on headcount, or on other improvements that you want to make in your business, and freeing up that cash is really critical there. The huge benefit of doing things online is that, as I mentioned before, payments are processed using strong customer authentication. And so it just means that both you and your client have a lot more security. And I would definitely encourage any law firms who are doing a significant amount of payments over the phone at the moment to investigate online payment options, as it removes a lot of the risk around that process for you and your business. And as we kind of touched on briefly, one of the key benefits of using legal is that you can very quickly and easily access information and metrics across your firm. So if you want to see how quickly clients are making payments, the total amount that client has paid to date, whether your client is a quote unquote good client, in that do they pay your bills quickly, you're able to kind of access all these insights out the box. Obviously, if you can get your invoices out digitally, get the payments made digitally, it just removes an absolutely phenomenal amount of admin back and forth with the client, posting documents, creating delays that are unnecessary. And obviously, as Harry has just shown, there's a really tight integration with Quill. We're really thinking about how we can optimize the experience here for you all as a firm to make sure it's really quick and simple, and that we're making payments reconciliation simple and not a headache.
Lauren, there's a question there from Alistair about the sort of turnaround time in terms of funds being received.
Yeah, so typically, I think for urgent cases that you're mentioning, Alistair, I would assume that clients then in that case are typically making the payment via bank transfer in those situations where there's an urgent requirement to receive those funds. You absolutely could continue to do that if it's a requirement that you receive those funds immediately. The disadvantage of bank transfers in the kind of traditional sense is that it can take quite a long time to set them up. So it's a 12-step process for the client to set up a bank transfer. It often involves trying to dig out your card reader from some drawer in your house where you've forgotten it for the last month or whatever, which is an experience that I've had a couple of times recently. So I think if it's a very urgent, I'm trying to think of like a criminal law matter or something where you immediately need funds from the client, they want to transfer that by a bank transfer, they can absolutely do that. I think where legal adds a lot of value is where you're thinking about practice areas like conveyancing and family law and wills and probate, where taking payment of money on account is part and parcel of kicking off that process, kicking off that substantive work. And then areas like invoice payments across the business, just getting that time reduced from 2, 4, 6 weeks down to less than 24 hours. And John, we're about to tell you how much it all costs.
Right. Okay, so maybe a quick introduction to how to get started with this, and then we'll cover the costs.
Yeah, so you can follow the link that Harry shared there to sign up with legal. It's a very, very quick and simple process. So the only thing that's required really is that you create your legal account. We build that checkout for you within 24 hours, and then you can be up and running straight away, taking payments from your clients. There's a dedicated customer success team at legal as well who will help you to get started. And Neil's just very helpfully shared the link as well in the chat if you want to click that. We've been helping firms over the last few years to do this very quickly. And I think at the height of the pandemic, March 2020, I think we helped about 30 law firms to go live in about 2 days. So we're very well versed with getting you up and running straight away.
And you will see landing pages within Interactive explaining about how to sign up and simple ways to just click through to get to those links too. So the $1 million question then, Lauren.
Well, it does not cost $1 million. So it's £20 a month. Included in that is your firm branded portal, your payments dashboard showing you all the data in real time, your insights dashboard, which enables you to track things like the average payment time, whether clients are making payments inside or outside of office hours. It's also important to note that Legal Solution is very comprehensive. So if you want to bring all your payment options under one roof, if you've got physical card terminals or phone payment options, you can move over to Legal and have one platform that does all of your clients' payments. And the really key thing that we do is those unique payment request links, and that's really where the integration with Quill is so critical, is making sure that it's really quick and simple for you to send those payment request links out to clients. So you pay £20 a month, and then it's simply pay as you go in terms of the payment processing fees. So you'll pay for what you use. It is optional as to whether you accept American Express and rest of the world international cards. So the 1.85% plus 20p is all UK, EU credit and debit cards. It's optional as to whether you want to accept American Express and rest of the world international cards.
Great, thank you, Lauren. So, well, we've had lots of questions in the chat, which has been great. Are there any more questions from anyone? Feel free to take yourselves off mute or type in the chat. We got any takers?
I think we've done quite a good job of fielding things as they fall in.
Question from Jacqueline, is that 20p per transaction?
Yes, so it's 1.85% plus 20p per transaction.
To see any more for any more. Well, do feel free to reach out to us if you have any more questions after this. You'll have our email addresses within the slide deck that's coming out with the webinar, or just get in touch with anyone at Quill or Legal, and we'll be very, very happy to answer any further questions. So thank you again for your time today, and look forward to maybe seeing you in another of our Quill webinar series.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you very much, guys. Bye.